Hey everybody, how's it going? Chris here. I just wanted to let you guys know that there's something breaking going on at the Carlton Reserve, where they originally were trying to find Brian in the beginning, and there's a lot going on right now. So I wanted to break some news to you guys and show you guys what was going on, so you're aware of it. You guys can, if you're not able to see it on Facebook right now or anything, or if you don't have Facebook, I'm showing it to you guys. So let's unmute this, and I'll let you guys hear the news of what's really going on. So here we go.
Grid pattern is what we call it, where if you take a piece of graph paper and you look at the lines on the graph paper, you would basically follow those lines back and forth to cover a specific area. And that's what it seems that they're doing. So I'm going to move and follow them because I think I saw one other vehicle with them.
Welcome everybody. How's it going? How are y'all doing today?
Sorry if you
How's
get
your day going?
seasick. This is kind of how we do it.
Here's what's going
I
on.
do see 3 cars. There's some other vehicles. So we're going to see where they go. We don't know where they're going. Again, we're doing just what you're doing when you follow us on the flight radar apps. We're just watching where they go. And this, again, is a very long roadway. I'll show you the road. They're driving on this. And it's a long road that is basically, it's along the power lines. They cut these so they can go through the power lines, easily take care of them. And they're just driving down the roadway. And again, this doesn't go anywhere particular except to the other end of the reserve. So you have 3 vehicles up in front. Then you have the other vehicles back a little bit. I don't even see them.
So there's a lot of police at the Carlton Reserve right now that showed up this morning. Something big is going down.
We can go back to the same area. But eventually up here, they're going to run into some flooded roadway. So we'll watch that, see what happens. But again, we're just keeping an eye on the search. Again, it's a bigger search than what we've seen. Not to say they haven't been out here every day, because they very well could be out here every day. We just don't see them. Because again, like they're looking for a small thing in this big area, so are we when we come down. So we're going to follow and see where they go. These are just 3 other vehicles. I think the drone truck stopped a little further back. But again, the roadway is starting to get a little more flooded up here. I think they can get through it.
Yeah.
But again, this roadway goes right above these power lines, the transmission lines. And they drive. That's what they're out here for. And there's a little bridge they go over. But again, this area is so vast, and this is the one way they can get around it fairly easily. Up now they're stopping. So they're going to stop in this area. And again, we don't know why or what they're doing, but we're looking.
Who knows what's going on? Seriously. We have no clue what's going on. Nobody does. But there's a lot of police
we don't know what
presence.
for, and we don't see the drone truck anymore. I don't know if it's still coming this way, but they stopped out here. So again, just a different search area than what they've been doing in the past. So we're just monitoring and seeing what we see if anything strikes us out of the ordinary. And anytime we see vehicles out in this swampy area, we're going to watch and see what they're doing. Now this vehicle is moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Crossing the bridge.
Do you guys think they found something? Or do you guys think they got a tip that Brian could be out there?
Deep, so I don't know if they're going to drive through that. But again, I was looking at this on the bridge. They're all going to go across. Hang on. JP, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to you because we really don't know what's going on. We're just going to follow these vehicles, see if they can make it through the flooded area. And I'm going to check my email as I go through.
Paul, we'll follow your shot here. I will leave your microphone open. If I hear you speak, I'll be quiet and we'll listen in here. Your mic will be open here, and we'll follow your shot here from Eagle.
Something is going on,
Okay,
definitely.
JP, if you guys hear anything, let us know.
10-4, Paul. Back here with you live, everybody, on WFLA now. We're going to leave Paul's mic open here, and you'll be able to hear it. It's open right now. So if Paul finds something here, or there's something here that he would like to point out to our audience, he'll speak. We'll go back here full screen, and we'll follow here from Eagle 8 HD. Again, Paul Lamson, the voice of Eagle 8 HD. I want to pass along some new information that we just got in here in the last hour or so to WFLA.com, the WFLA app. You can see this document here for yourself if you go over to WFLA.com or the WFLA app. You can also click on the link in the description on this video. It'll take you right over where you can read the same exact piece of information with the same exact document here that I received here in the last hour. Northport Police confirming to 8 on your side that an abandoned vehicle notice was placed on Brian Laundrie's Mustang on Tuesday, September 14th. It is heavily redacted here. You can see it's heavily redacted. It's got a lot of areas. The narrative itself is very much redacted. But it is a abandoned vehicle report for Brian Laundrie's Mustang, 6968 Reisterstown Road, Northport, Florida. And what is 6968 Reisterstown Road in Northport? That is right there at the edge of the of Myakka River State Park. It's right there, folks, as far as the entryway to Myakkahatchee. Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. So that area. So that is where the vehicle exactly was found here. And we did get some answers here from police as far as exactly what that transpires to. The time, by the way, on that timestamp, 2:42 in the afternoon. And I want to read this here for you folks from WFLA.com. This is from Josh Taylor, Northport Police Public Information Officer. If the owner cannot be located, we make arrangements for removal by initiating the 5-day process. After 5 days has passed, if the vehicle is still present, an officer will have it towed. So that is the ordinance, Ordinance 4256, a local ordinance that pertains to abandoned vehicles here. So if you want to read more on that for yourself, it's on WFLA.com, and we'll update our timeline. In fact, I think that our WFLA.com timeline here with Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, that is all now up to date. So if you want to know exactly how this factors in there, you can go find it for yourself right now on WFLA.com.
Oh, my audio shut
If you're just joining us, JB Buno here with you live, as well as Paul Lamson with an open mic here. We are listening in for what Paul finds here. But let's kind of talk about exactly how this got on our radar. We have, of course, had cameras here on the ground. Shout out to Justin Rogers. In fact, we can go live here, split screen for a moment to show you that this is a live feed here on the right side of your screen, live from the Carlton Reserve, where Justin Rogers was stationed here, one of our photojournalists, and he noticed a considerable amount of police activity heading into Carlton Reserve. He sent over that video back to us here at WFLA.com. And then, of course, we mobilized Eagle 8 HD. Paul Lamson got here very quickly here and just arrived here on the scene about 25 or so minutes ago when we began our WFLA Now live stream here. So the activity that went in is the activity that you're now seeing here on the left side of your screen. So we'll hit the touch screen and go back here. And there's about roughly 14 vehicles here that have
14 vehicles,
wow. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here now. You can see just how swampy, how wet this area is. But this is a roadway that, of course, that law enforcement is using here to kind of go through some of these swampy areas. But even there on the roadway, you can see a lot of water here as well, even though we haven't had all that much rainfall here over the last several days here in Sarasota County, Florida. So now we have two separate groups here. It appears a group of roughly 5 cars here, 5 vehicles here, and then we have another group of about 7 or so, or actually, excuse me, that's going to be 9 vehicles in the other group right now, but we don't have eyes on that group at the moment. But right now, it appears that there's a split here in the law enforcement.
Is this better now?
For Brian Laundrie.
Hopefully, it's better.
There is Northport police vehicles, and then a lot of unmarked vehicles here. As well. So we can get this one here out of the way from Jenna Cheney, #KJB. Is this strictly Northport police searching or some FBI too? The FBI is leading this investigation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of unmarked. Most of the
Thank you.
vehicles here are
Appreciate
unmarked
it.
vehicles here. Of course, that leads you to believe that this is a lot of FBI vehicles here, but they are unmarked vehicles, and there
Welcome,
are
by
some
the way.
marked
Thank you
Northport
for
police
thank you
vehicles
for coming.
here as well. So thanks to
There's some
Jenna
stuff
for the
going on
comment
here.
Amy Culver, hashtag HJB, lots of FBI, it appears. I hope they find him today. And yes, our commenters who have been with us here before on WFLA Now, noting that if it's an unmarked vehicle, it's likely, of course, the FBI. Colleen Holly Saunders, hashtag KJB, hashtag Hey Paul. I hope and pray they find Brian, but sadly, I think he's left for another country. This is, of course, one of the many theories that have been circulating online here. There are just folks that believe that that Brian Laundrie is much more likely to be located internationally right now than he is here, at least not even just in the United States, but here in Florida. I've seen some people saying Brian Laundrie could be right under the noses of law enforcement right here in Florida, right here in Sarasota County. Others who believe that he's in Mexico or Canada or located internationally here. Of course, we don't know what the FBI knows. And the FBI, of course, has the most information pertaining to what they believe are the whereabouts of Brian Laundrie. But this is, one more time here, folks, I want to make this very, very clear. This is considerably more activity than we have seen in recent days. Now, it's a very vast area. 25,000 acres is Myakkahatchee and Carlton Reserve and the entire area.
JB, we're going to have to leave. We are going to need...
Uh-oh.
Coming again, Paul?
We're going to have to head back to Tampa, so we're going to have to leave so we can give you one more quick look at what they're doing.
Any chance, Paul, that you could circle back to the original spot here as well? I know that fuel is, of course, a precious resource. You don't have an unlimited supply of fuel, but can we check in one more time with the other group as well in addition to this one?
Yeah, definitely. What these guys stopped here, and again, this big white van is the drone van. We've been looking for the drone. It's flying out in the wooded area. It's really tough to see where it's going and what they're monitoring. Now, where the other crew is, and we'll fly right over it because we have to go back kind of where we came from, is down this long, like, transmission line road. And when you get down to where it crosses right here, this is where they are. And again, what it strikes me as strange, the amount of vehicles they have out here, and the vehicles are just out here. We don't see the people out in the field searching. It's almost like, to me, JB, like they have something they want to recheck out. And maybe it's a good lead, maybe it's not, but they do have a lot of vehicles out here. Almost like a backup situation. They have the drone looking. We really didn't see anything in the area where the drone was flying. But again, this is what we're looking at. And this is the original area where the 15 cars were. The drone car and the other cars drove off. So again, that's where we've started. And I'm going to show you where the original area is that we start from usually. The command center, when the search was in full swing, is right over here.
Right.
And that's where they were parking. And this road you see out there is the entranceway to the park. So we're kind of closer to the Venice side, but out in the middle off this transmission line. And I'll show you that as well. This is where the road continues.
Got it.
And what led us down here was they have the road blocked off with an unmarked vehicle. And there's a pickup truck with the trailer, which could mean we saw them mowing out here the other day. So that's where they are now. On the other side, they have a gate and they have the road closed. So JB, that's what we're doing out here. Again, we saw a lot of stuff, but we didn't see a lot of stuff. So again, it's a huge area, and for us to just stay over it would just take forever. And we wanted to give you those pictures and let everybody know what's going on with the search. But the search continues out in this vast area. And I'll give you one more look over to the east. That's basically what they're searching. This whole huge area out here, they'll continue to search that. And that's what they had the drone up.
Yeah.
And once they have the drone, they'll have to bring it back and kind of download all the information out of it. And they'll watch the video to see if anything strikes them as out of the ordinary. And that's what they're doing. So, JB, this is your look at the Carlton Reserve as we fly back north up towards Myakka State Park as we go. And that's the Myakka Reserve right up here. That's where they kind of meet together. And so that's kind of the northernmost boundary of what they've been searching. So, JB, I'll go ahead and throw it back to you.
Paul Lamison for us in Eagle 8 HD. Paul, have a safe flight back to Tampa and appreciate, of course, all the reporting and everything you're doing here from Eagle.
You guys have a good one, and follow me on Twitter. I'll have updates as they become available.
Sweet.
Eagle 8 HD's Paul Lamison here for us, folks, and just take a moment. Just look at this landscape here for a moment.
So do you guys think they found something?
It's large.
Do you guys think
it's
they
swampy,
got news to tip?
And it would take an enormous amount of time to comb through the entirety of the 25,000-acre reserve that is Carlton Reserve here in rural Sarasota County, Florida here, folks. Let's bring in, if we can, Josh Benson. Hey there, Josh. How are you?
That is beautiful.
Good. How are you?
Good. Great to have you here. And what strikes you as far as this uptick in police activity here at the Carlton Reserve?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We've been out there every day for the last 3 weeks, and there's been some definite lulls in the search, especially over weekends, especially over the last few days. You know, it's been really focused in. It's been smaller. We saw an airboat with a dog out there a day or two ago, and we have Justin Rogers, our photojournalist out there, is always checking the gates to see, what the latest is every morning. He said it's been quiet the last few days. So to see this uptick is pretty interesting. I see a drone was out there. I see law enforcement presence bigger than we've seen. So I think that's a positive sign. Maybe they're onto something here.
What we're going to do now here, folks, now that Eagle 8 HD has to return to Tampa to refuel, JB Buno, Josh Benson here with you live. You can use #HeyJosh, #HeyJB. And we'll take some of your Facebook and YouTube comments here. And actually, we have some, I think, from Twitter here as well. So to our Twitter audience here as well, you can also tweet out #HeyJB, #HeyJosh, and we can feature your comments. But let's talk about that video, Josh. Let's actually show everybody that video here. This is from this morning here at, actually, I don't necessarily know if I have it in my system. Oh, I don't. But there is video that we have on WFLA.com of some of that activity this morning here. This is still live here from Eagle 8 HD. We'll see if we can get that video loaded in here shortly. But Josh, it was vehicles heading in. Actually, let's go here live to Carlton Reserve. This is live from outside Carlton Reserve. This is where we have seen several police vehicles here drive directly into the reserve here. In fact, this is where the original activity was this morning.
Yeah, and I think we did see some video. I think that's what you're putting up. We just saw different possible FBI vehicles. We saw the black SUVs go in. We saw local law enforcement. Like I mentioned, there was a drone involved. So, yeah, I think this is a positive sign. I think this is weeks on end of searching. And if they fine-tune a certain intelligence into one spot that they really want to check out and it's of interest, then they're going to probably bring in more resources, one can only imagine. So I think it's a positive step, and we just have to kind of watch to see what we learn. I know dogs have been busy out there. They have had a lot of canines, a lot of search dogs out there through the entirety of this search. So I think they're crucial aspects to this search to either catch a trail or to find some evidence or, just hit on something specific that can help lead them in the right direction. Now, Paul, this is Paul. Is that live? Is he headed back?
Paul is heading back here, and in fact, we'll throw up Carlton Reserve here, and we're going to start taking your #HeyJB, #HeyJosh questions and comments here. Let's take this one here from Twitter first. Let's start with Twitter. Hello to our Twitter audience here.
Yeah.
Linda Ferg on Twitter, #HeyJB. If someone gives a tip to a reporter for any crime, is that reporter obligated to disclose the identity of the tipster to the FBI or police when passing that information on to them? This is an interesting question, and not one that I have seen asked our way before here. But what do we say here for Linda? As I understand it, So based on this hypothetical that Linda's asking here, if somebody gives a tip to us,
that's a good question,
and then we know that person's identity, but then the person is requesting to be anonymous. Is that how you're reading this comment?
I think I'm reading it that way. And look, I think it all comes down to the nature of the lead, because I'm sure I've received a ton of tips on Twitter, giving specifics about, hey, they're in touch with Brian. They're talking, so many things that are so far fetched that they believe that they're actually hot on the trail and they're communicating with him. So first of all, you have to gauge whether or not that's reliable. And for people who just reach out randomly, we don't know your identity. We don't know your background. We have to really justify if this is something even worthwhile to check into or not. So I think that's the first step. You have to gauge whether it's credible or not. Now, what happens if there's a situation, and I'm sure this has happened in the past, where there's a criminal case and a reporter's assigned to the case, and the suspect or perpetrator reaches out directly to that reporter and obviously has the proof. Now that gets to be a sticky area, because as a reporter, you have a right to keep sources anonymous and not report. That's what's nice about being in the media. You can keep people protected to a certain level without divulging your sources. And it gets sticky when it comes to the law and what you should be turning over and what you must turn over. So in this situation, I would first start with the tip itself, the credibility of the tip, the person. We'd have to do a lot of work first before we can even determine if it's something worthwhile. And then I think it comes down to the journalist. If they turn that into the authorities, if they figure that that's definitely tied to the case and could change the nature of the case and close the case. But that's where it gets into a whole new realm of protection and law, and it gets down a crazy road at that point. So,
and I think that to jump off of exactly what you said there, Josh, I think that there's a difference between a tip that you receive and a source that you develop. A source that you develop is somebody in an organization where there's a mutual level of trust there, an established relationship, versus a tip which just kind of comes in and is something random and sort of anonymous there. And so I have, of course, being a student of journalism, I have heard of so many stories where there is absolutely nothing that would ever compel a reporter or journalist to nothing, even an arrest, that nothing could come forward to convince a reporter or a journalist to disclose the identity of their sources. That's how much it's sometimes.
And look, reporters get arrested. Yep. They can be arrested as well, and they have been in the past for not divulging their sources. So
that's true. That's true.
Interesting question here from Linda. Let's take some more here with hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. CM. Is that CM Punk? No, just CM. CM on YouTube, hashtag HeyJB. Are there cameras around the area where the car was left? Okay, so just in WFLA.com, the abandoned vehicle report, 6968 Reisterstown Road in Northport, Florida. That is really the entrance to Myakkahatchee, to the Environmental Creek Trail there. Northport, Florida, 34291. The date on this document right now, just click on the link. It'll take you over to WFLA.com.
But you have to say that's a really good question
for yourself. See this black area here? It's
an ink waster.
That is, oh yeah. That's a lot of ink. And it's the entire narrative. And there was body-worn camera, body camera video here of this, according to this. But the entire narrative here, the description here of the abandoned vehicle report has been redacted here. But the vehicle was found, and it was Brian Laundrie's Ford Mustang. It was found September 14th, 2021 at 2:42 Eastern time in the afternoon. So that's interesting. But to the comment here, are there any cameras around the area where the car was left? And that's a very good question. I don't know if I have. Yeah. Well, really, I guess here at this address. And you know what I'll do if I can, and I'll just kind of do a Google Street View.
Yeah.
On this exact spot, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look around. I'm looking around. I can't show Google Street View on stream, but I can describe it here, and I will tell you that in this spot, at this spot, 6968 Reisterstown Road, Northport, Florida, there's no cameras around. However, there is a house right here. There's a house here, or a building here of some kind here at this, but I don't know if there's any. It's really hard to see if there's any surveillance cameras here at that.
And I just texted Justin, our photojournalist, who's spent a lot of time down there. He's been at the entrances of both sides of the park. He goes there every day to check. So he would have a pretty good indication. I just sent him a message to see if he's seen any cameras, even at the entrances
That might be a private
to know
house,
for sure
though.
if
You
there
never
is a
know.
possibility of having video there.
Yeah,
Because I have not been to the reserve, so I don't know firsthand.
I just want to throw this one out there because this is a comment that is growing in traction on and listen,
Really busy with that today.
Very
Yeah.
busy,
Yeah.
very busy on social media. Is this comment here from Linda Berg? Didn't we have a Linda Ferg? All right, so we had Linda Ferg on Twitter. Now we have Linda Berg on Facebook. #HeyJB. I wouldn't be surprised if he is still at his parents' house.
Wouldn't that be something?
And I've seen the video with the flower bed there, the garden bed in the backyard.
A lot of talk
and
about the flower bed today. Just a ton of stuff about the flower bed.
So I just the light can reflect off of surfaces in a very funny way. I'm not discrediting anything that is seen in that video, but there might not be anything.
Yeah. Just got to be cautious about seeing that video and thinking you maybe see a subject or thinking you maybe see the mom grab something out of the garden.
Even if you have a garden tool and it's reflective, and
maybe there was a piece of paper and it was trash, pick it up. You know what I mean? It's hard to determine what, if anything, that could be anything.
Groundhog?
Could be a groundhog. They've been known to frequent.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I have to throw it out there because people have gone so deep into this video and zoomed in so much, Josh, that I can see pixel boxes. I mean, that's how much they have zoomed in here.
And when you're at that point, it's like, there's nothing definitive to say, that's a shadow or that's a person. So I think you got to be really careful.
Yes, but without question, Chris and Roberta Laundrie in drone video that has made it out on social media. Listen, they can't really go outside and go for a walk. So what they're doing is they're spending a lot of time in their backyard to get some fresh air. But they've pointed up, looked at the drones that have been flying over their property, and the airspace over your property isn't something necessarily that you own. So drones are there. They're legally allowed to be there unless there's a temporary flight restriction.
Exactly.
And there are some people that are very, very very protective over the privacy of their backyards, especially, and think that that's a breach of privacy. But there have been drones in the air over the Laundrie home now for more than a week, and really, there's been our helicopter that really hasn't flown over the house all that much in the last 2 weeks. But we were there, of course, originally when this news story was really focused on the initial report of Brian Laundrie's disappearance. But Linda, you're not alone.
But my Evo could have picked it up. My drone could have picked it up.
Yeah, Twitter kind of blew up today. People saying, what if he's actually in there? And let's not forget, and Josh and I believe we're on the stream together when they executed the search warrant there. They have been in the house. The FBI has been in the house multiple times now, really. But the search warrant being executed, all the belongings that were taken out of the house
and
here.
They have been in the camper too.
They have been in the camper as well. And that was, I mean, going back every now and again, you get a flare up on social media. Last week, Josh, it was, he's in the camper. He's got to be in the camper. Have they looked in the camper? And then, of course, they went into the camper.
You couldn't bring him anything because everybody's watching, 24 hours a day. You couldn't bring him food. You couldn't bring him anything. So that would be a really tough. Hey, I got a text from Justin. He says at the Myakkahatchee area, there may be some cameras away from the parking lot, but none at the Venice side of the entrance to the reserve, as far as he knows. So,
okay,
good to know that. I mean, as far as where the entrances are, the two that we kind of covered, doesn't sound like there's cameras.
Let's get to some more questions and comments here. You can use hashtag. We're going to go till Josh. We're going to go into about 1:30, if that's all right. 1:30 sound good to you?
Yep.
So 1:30 Eastern time gives us about 20 or so minutes, folks, to answer your questions here live with hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. And again, the purpose of this, of course, we're always going to report here facts for you here, folks. But the purpose of this, of course, as we look at some of the video from Eagle 8 HD. Actually, we don't have the video from Eagle 8 HD. We're going to have to stay here with this live feed here for you, folks. But I'm not sure why we cannot load video up right now, but technical difficulties, but we'll get video kind of returned here. But we're going to stay rooted, of course, in the facts of this case, but we can also do our due diligence here. Again, interactive journalism here. We can feature some of your comments, help you separate fact from fiction. In today's day and age, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Reddit, you can go on Twitter. You can find all of these claims and landmines of misinformation and conspiracy theories. They're going to be very difficult to find out what is true, what isn't true, and what is somewhere in the gray area of where we just don't know. And that's what we're here to do. Is
Perfect
to kind of
example of that yesterday,
Exactly.
JB, is I was looking at one of the text screens from the lawyer. They were going around like crazy yesterday because the lawyer
don't
was very
believe that
active
lawyer.
yesterday for the attorney for the Laundrie family, and somebody took it and actually photoshopped a message in from the attorney on one of these screenshots and started kicking that around. I mean, it was so blatantly silly.
But it goes to show that people are.
Some people thought it could have been legit, and that's what's really scary about that, is because it was so ridiculously written that, and you could tell the fonts were different and everything else, but some people thought that there could be a possibility that that was true. So that's, you really got to be careful.
It gives it again. It shows that there are people out there willing to fabricate evidence,
Or they think they're just entertaining
I
and
wonder
being funny,
who that
but it's
could
really
be.
not helping.
Maybe
yeah, it's
Joseph
not helping
Morris?
at all. In fact, it's doing the exact opposite. It's taking
Morris
attention
ring a
away
bell?
from credible leads potentially.
Mhm.
Let's take the next one here. This is a good one for you here. Hashtag Hey Josh from Laura Turner. Do we know if they're search and rescue dogs or cadaver dogs?
I've been working on that question for a long time, Laura. I've really tried to figure that out. Reached out to the FBI specifically and directly, and they wouldn't answer that question. I've been talking to some search groups who I believe may have help supply dogs, but I can't confirm that either. So it's really difficult to ascertain if they're using one or the other, or even both in this instance. But as far as I know from what some of the dog handlers are telling me, most of the times, or all the times, dogs aren't cross-trained to do both. I think they're either cadaver, and I could be wrong on that, but this is what they're telling me. It could either cadaver or they're live scent or specifically trained to what their specialty is. Rare, if not.
Well, that's all the news that I have for you guys right now. If something breaking comes open, I will come back for sure and let you guys know. But police are mostly all over that part today. Like, I mean, they have some major units over there. I wonder if they found something belonging to Brian, or if they got a tip that Brian's there right now. I mean, honestly, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was over at his parents' house right now, where everybody, well, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, because he's everywhere right now. Just, and on that footage, that drone footage, that nobody's really zoomed in. I mean, my drone, my Evo 2 8K drone can zoom in, and when I fly, I would have zoomed in so that you could even see what they're holding in their hands, or even zoom in what that note says, or something that paper says that was in her hands, or whatever is in their hands. I could zoom in multiple. And on the drone footage, nobody really zoomed in all that much, if you notice. I mean, they just went over their house and to see what they were doing in the garden. I mean, what do you guys think was in the garden? I mean, that's what I really have to ask you guys is, I mean, do you think it has something to do with Brian? Or do you think they were just back there doing the garden? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's something sketchy since they're back there. I think, Brian's been back and forth so much that it's literally thrown off people and stuff like that. But he's going back when people least expect it. Because, I mean, not everybody can stay awake all through the night. Maybe he's back and forth through the night. Maybe he has a secret way of, he's always lived there all of his life. And yet the police, the FBI, don't really know the area all that much. They're from somewhere else. And so basically, maybe there's a secret entrance way that we do not know about that they do and stuff. I mean, who really knows? I mean, it's still up in the air, but I think he's going through a way that we really do not know about, not the Bat Cave, but I'm just saying there is some sort of way how he's getting in and out since his parents are leaving him stuff, Seriously, I mean, that's what's happening. I think, I mean, what do you guys think? So that's all the news I have for you guys right now. I will definitely be back, and I really appreciate you guys watching. And right now, have a good one. Bye for now.